I'm excited to be here today to talk to you. My presentation, Type A, is very driven on the how with intentionality, and so I hope that you'll be able to leave today with a few actions that you can implement today. As we heard Roger say yesterday, accounting is a people business, and so you can't forget that. A conversation needs to be had, expectations need to be set, and you need to get rid of that ambiguity. And so today we're going to walk through how you can do that as you build, grow, and scale your firm. Okay, so how many of you tell your clients that you're available 24/7? I see some hands, okay. How many of you use the terminology, I provide year-round support, or I have a support team? Okay. How many of you feel that most of your day is meetings? Okay, all right, we're getting there. One thing that you're going to learn today is that you control your time. And when you don't control your time, you're letting your clients own your schedule. And prior to last year, I used to think I was the best at scheduling meetings and deliverables. And what I realized is I was doing it so manually that I ended up overextending myself in my family, missing sports meetings, school conferences. The whole reason that I built Ledgerly Consulting, literally, if you were to have asked me 4 years ago, why did you start Ledgerly Consulting? It said so that I never have to miss another child's school conference. I have 5 wonderful, amazing children, and all in my career in public accounting, I never was able to attend a public conference. My first 3 years in business, I never attended a school conference. So I broke my own rule. So what we're gonna do is today, we're gonna walk through how to set expectations with your clients and exceed those expectations, but don't break your boundaries in doing that. There's things and tools and technology you can use today. All right, so 3 things very quickly, Type A, learning objectives. We're gonna walk through a plan of creating engagements. So what does that look like when you're engaging with a customer or a client? How do you manage your time, and how do you make your time work for you so that you can do the things that you love in your day job and at home? And then scripts. My firm has become all about standardization and scripts. I'm going to share with you 7 areas that you need to go home and assess. Have you standardized? Do you have a script? Are you using your tone of voice? And how to use that to your benefit? Okay, so the best client engagements I have found are not reactive. They're intentional, structured, they're thought out. There's no ambiguity. You and I have mutually agreed upon a set of services that we understand and are going to do, hopefully, right, LTV, for a very, very long time. So this is something that I tell not just my clients, but I tell my team, I tell my family, I tell my children. My children are the bane of my existence sometimes when it comes to boundaries. But every successful relationship starts with alignment. You and I need to understand what it is that my role is, what it is that your role is. In any relationship, when you're hiring a team member, as you heard yesterday with Canopy, being really intentional, being really impactful, clear, concise. If it's not a yes, it's a no. You heard from Deb, right? When you're offering services, you have to know your value, know your confidence, know how you're going to sell that. If I walk into an engagement with a client and I'm like, well, this could be my role, and here's what your role could be, how do you think that that gets to them? You're training them right there that you have a boundary that can be crossed. So when creating engagements, it's going to be super, super important that you think of these 4 key things. 1 is going to be specific. Don't leave room for them to guess what the service is. How many of you in the past 3 years have dealt with scope creep? Does everyone know what scope creep is? I say A, and then I give you B, C, D, and E all the way. Right? You want to have engagements that are clear, that you've priced, that you know what you're delivering on, because on the back end of your firm, you're going to standardize it. You're going to have workflows and processes. Your team is going to know how to execute it. I used to do engagements that were really broad. for $500 a month, I am going to do XYZ, and maybe it was super high level. Monthly bookkeeping, file your sales tax, process your payroll. And you have access to my team for all the questions that you may have. Now, what's wrong with that? Maybe half of your clients don't ask you questions, but Sally Joe, who was texting me at 10 o'clock in the gala last night, really had something important to say, right? Or the client that messages you 10, 15, 20 times, which is not a bad thing. We tell our clients, I'd rather know now, I'd rather you ask me the question, right? I don't want you to go do something and then come back later. But if I don't set an expectation with my client on what that conversation and process looks like, then I'm giving them this impression that I am available 24/7, and that when they're in that car dealership trying to buy that truck, they need me right then and there, and they need me to send them something, and I have to drop everything we're doing. It's kind of funny, but not funny. I tell my team, we don't deliver babies. Now, I've had 5 babies, 1 an emergency C-section. Very much love my doctor, and thankfully they showed up. But I tell my team all the time, we do not deliver babies. We are not an emergency service. We do not provide call center services that you would see maybe in a property management. So when I build an engagement, we're really specific on what our conversation looks like. Next is time-bound. So I used to not put dates in my engagement letters. And what I found from that is that they would then assume that date, and they drove the timelines that my team wanted to get the work done. Fast forward 4 years, my team does certain things on week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Depending on your size, whether you have more complex financial reportings, they have a higher level nonprofit, how long and large your financial package is, drives when I will deliver. I can't tell you how many times on the 5th of the month when I didn't use a date, they would message me and be like, do you have my financials? Like, no, you still haven't given me the bank statements. Yeah. Or Sally, I sent you like 4 emails last week. No, I haven't. Also, can you approve payroll? So having time-bound in your agreement letters is going to be something super, super important because, again, on the back end of your firm, you're going to decide and build workflows and processes that clusters all of this work so that your team is able to move effectively and efficiently through that process. Deadlines create structure. We recently, in 2025, moved our entire firm to deadline-based. Your success within my firm as a team member is, did you meet or beat your deadline? I don't care that you actually got the work done. What I do care is, did you deliver when you said we were going to deliver? I think Jeannie actually said that. They care more about the timeliness and the full accuracy if I know that everything is there. And that is so true. We use Fathom as well. So we will literally put in there a section called unresolved items. So I will issue you a financial statement on time, but I'm going to tell you the 15 things you still have not given me. Because what's important to me is that we delivered on the service that we got. I can tell you, from doing this for about 12 years, they're never going to remember the 500 emails you sent them this year about all the things they're missing. Okay? They're going to remember, well, you didn't give me my financial statement that month on the 15th, and I really needed it. Next, one of the things we do when doing engagements is, and you've kind of heard about this today, we focus on the outcome. I focus very little time with my clients on the what. I even tell my teams, if you spend most of your conversation on the what, then we're not doing our job. Our job is to deliver value, the narrative behind the numbers, helping them understand. So feel free in your engagements to share the outcome side. I think Deb had a really great thing with Walt Disney, right? You don't have to get to that level of granularity, but give enough granularity that it's not, what's the right word? Confusing as to what your services are. Lastly, you want to have something in place, that is mutually accountable. So here, how many of you are using a proposal software or have a general terms of service? Okay, for those of you that don't, that should be the number one thing you should do when you leave here today. You need to protect yourself and your firm. My general terms of service is about 12 pages long. It goes from liability, who owns our work papers, what happens when you don't pay me on time, if I choose to walk away, if you choose to walk away, any unhappy path. I want my clients to know that I have a boundary at a firm, I have an expectation of you. I want to work with you, I want to make you better, I want to provide prosperity or profitability. We're very nonprofit focused, so usually it's kind of driving behind the mission. I want you to have no cloudiness when it comes to what our firm expects. So if you don't have that today, you need that today. 100% protect your firm. I kind of walked through these a little bit, but just to really hone in, be specific. If you just give them an agreement letter that says, hey, I do monthly bookkeeping, yeah, okay, that's a lot. Yeah? What if during your proposal call, that was 2 bank accounts, and if you're like the client I'm working on right now, they have 20. It's a very big difference, right? Give just a little bit more clarity. What is it that you're going to provide in that? It doesn't have to be 50 bullets long, but help them understand when you're talking to them about the service what that will be. Also, it holds you and them accountable to what you're going to be delivering. Payroll's another really good one that, honestly, it bites me every time, and you think I would have learned my lesson. Usually, my template says, I will process semi-monthly payroll through ADP XYZ. I always forget special payroll. And they always have it. And then they're really mad when they get an extra fee or there's extra time. Those are the specifics that you want to include in your agreement letter. I want you to think unhappy path. It's going to sound really great in your sales call. I can do your monthly bookkeeping. I can do your sales tax. I can do all these things. Yeah, but you're also not giving them everything. You've heard a lot of people here today. There's value in what we do. It's taken us 5, 10, 15, Deb, 40 years? Don't give it away. Leave room for you to build the services. Outcome-based, again, provide you a cash flow. That's a big statement. What type of cash flow? How will you give the cash flow? What will the input be? Time-bound, right? Making sure that they understand the time that they will need. Now, the one tip on time-bound, make sure that your client understands what they are responsible for. So if you do this fancy agreement letter and you talk about monthly bookkeeping and it's all great and it's gravy, but you never told them what their expectations are, right there, first month, you're going to have a misalignment with your client. Well, I didn't know that you needed my statements by the 5th. Be transparent. Let them know. I need you here and now. I even charge clients more if you are not responsive, and I put it right in my terms of service. Our expectation is that you will equally and mutually respond to us, especially if I know that they have a bit of a communication issue, and I am very clear about that. I've never had an issue billing for it because most of the time they know that they haven't done that. So step 1 today, you don't have terms of service. You need to go home and do that. You have questions? We're all here to help you. Protect your business. Make sure you have clear expectations. The next one is something that I think I've heard in most of the presentations today, which is time and efficiency. The biggest thing that I typically hear about accountants is their hair is always on fire. They're always busy. They're overwhelmed. It's chaotic. There's a lot going on. This year, I've really embraced that I've overextended myself, and here's what I'm going to do to fix that. I told you earlier I started my firm, and the one single reason I started it is so that I could attend a school conference. I didn't for the first 3 years. How do you think that made my family feel? I broke my own boundary to serve a client for time that I will never get back. I tell my teams, chaos is not a badge of honor. The act of you looking busy, being busy, I don't think of you any higher on the pecking order of accountants if you are that busy. Time management is so important. We think of it as unlimited, but it's limited. That minute goes and comes. We don't get that minute back. I will never get those years back with my children or my husband. So in 2025, I made a vow to take back my time, reclaim my calendar, and show that I can make better decisions and be more effective and efficient with my time, but also do what I enjoy doing. So I'm gonna teach you kind of 6 ways that you can take back your time. Now, depending on where you are in your phase of life, this will look a little different. And for those of you at home, this is important. Super, super important for you to understand your time. And it's not just that I have 24 hours and how am I going to use my 24 hours. First and foremost, do you actually know the best time of day that you should be working? I unfortunately was in a terrible car accident about 18 months ago, and my world crashed. Time stopped. I lost my ability to speak, to walk, to control anything of anything. Coming back, I shared with Roger the other night at the gala, I was a new person. My personality was affected, how I communicated was affected, how I interpreted information was affected. I had to relearn the new Brittany. I mean, by the way, I think she's pretty cool, but I had to go relearn what is the best time for me to focus. So those of you that may or may not know, if you suffer from a traumatic brain injury, your brain kind of acts like a battery. I used to be the Energizer battery. If you ever knew me back in public accounting days, I'd go, 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 go. Now, not so much. My husband always knows when I'm overextended because I'll be getting ready for bed and I stop talking. And he's like, are you done? You're not talking anymore? And I'll be like, I don't really want to talk right now. That is literally all I can get out. So I've learned that my best time is in the morning. 6 to noon, I can crush some Excel projects at a higher rate and speed than ever before. My business partner, she is not a morning person. Love her to death. Her times are more 12 to 4. So understanding when is your optimal time is where you need to start and manage your schedule. How many of you use working hours in Outlook? What? How do your teams know when you're going to be available? How many of you use a scheduling tool? Oh, okay. I used to be so anti-scheduling tool, by the way. I was like, did she just send me a scheduling link? She can't even give me a few times that are available. She sends me over here to Calendly. I swear, if you knew me 3 years ago, I'd be like, no, I'm never using that. It's the most amazing tool. I will send you there all day long. And I'll even remind you that it's in my signature for you to schedule a meeting. Here's what Calendly did for my life and for my firm. It allowed me to take back my calendar. So I have something called in there a buffer. It's 48-hour buffer, meaning you can't schedule a meeting with me like today. It's 2 days out. Do you want to know why? I kept getting same-day calls with really hard questions. How many of you have got the, hey, I just have a really quick question, can I call you? Yeah. Never have I ever had a quick question. It's like, no, Sally, you said this was quick. This is hard. I need my computer. Okay? Use technology, use scheduling tools. Like I said, I put in a buffer. I have no meeting days. I have certain days of the time. I have a block after each meeting so that I can make sure to recap that call and document it. Because as accountants, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. But what it also allowed me to do is number 3, I can batch similar work for my team. So I told you earlier how we have a weekly schedule, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. We use this also to manage our time. The first 2 days of every month, I have an operations assistant who goes and sends client requests through Canopy for any platform we are not able to have access to. 7 a.m. on the first day of the month, they're all there, ready to go. She verifies them, makes sure that they're updated. In the first 2 days of the month, my team is pulling all of those statements down. All source documents are in the file, typically by no later than day 5. Initial client requests are already going out to clients in the first 3 days. I've batched all of my similar work. And what it allows me to do is protect my time and tell my clients, hey, for the first week, we're heads down. We usually start taking meetings on week 2 and 3. Let's talk about meetings. How many of you have pre-scheduled meetings on your calendar with your clients? Okay, raise the hands. How many of your clients actually attend? Okay. How many reschedule on you? Quite a bit. We used to pre-schedule meetings out, and then what I found is my whole schedule was full with what-if meetings. What am I going to talk about in that meeting? Are they even going to show up to that meeting? Why am I reserving time for a future event that I may or may not know that they wanted? So in 2025, we moved to when we send you your financial statement, you get a Calendly link for 45 minutes that says, hey, please schedule a time that's convenient for you to do your financial review. We would suggest that you do schedule this as soon as possible because we would love to share our insights with you. Ledgerly Consulting does not chase you. You hired me for a service. I'm ready to deliver that service. I will not chase you to tell you how your financials are. I had a client recently call me to tell me, well, I don't know what's going on with my business. And I said, hey Joe, I see that the team has sent you financials for the past 6 months, requested a call, and we've never heard from you. Oh, yeah, I saw those emails. Right? Protect your time. Next, I set expectations with my team, though. If you're on a meeting and you don't show up in the first 7 minutes, we will reschedule the meeting. I will not wait for you. It's a waste of my time. I expect my team to arrive on time. So do that with your teams. What are your SLAs? How fast are you going to respond? My support team responds 24 to 72 hours, depending on urgency. The texting line is used for emergencies, right? We'll respond within 15 minutes. Set expectations within your teams to help them own their time. Your employees are also not available to you 24/7. I promise you, if you do that, they will leave you the moment someone else gives them just a little bit of time left. And lastly, create no meeting days. Create no meeting afternoons. Create times and safe place for you and your teams. I don't take meetings on Mondays and Fridays. Why? Fridays, I tell my teams, this is our day to prevent the Sunday blues. I want you to document and get everything down that you need to have written down so that you're not obsessing over it over the weekend. That it's documented, it is there. We don't deliver babies. It will be there on Monday. And then on Monday, we have no meeting so that you can come in, assess what has happened over the weekend. We support small businesses, right? So that means that they might be working in the evening or during the day and on the weekends. But Mondays are their days to get settled, and then we crank that work Tuesday to Thursday every week. We have workload meetings where they can escalate. Create space and time for your team. So what's the real takeaway? You don't need more time, you need intention. Time is not an unlimited resource, but it is a reflection of what you value. And so are you valuing the right thing? If your whole day is of meetings, what is it that you're valuing there? Are you earning your value? Is the price right for you to have that many meetings on your calendar? And as accountants, we do not have to be available all the time, okay? Lastly, scripts are like my favorite thing. I don't think I fully understood a script until I worked at Intuit, where I learned how they design and craft phone scripts. It's really funny because sometimes when I kind of get a little frustrated with a customer service rep in a chat, I'm like, can you stop reading off the script? I really need you to understand what I'm saying. But scripts can be really, really helpful. I actually have 7 things that we're scripting. This year, our firm will have over 100 plus scripts, boilerplate, and templates in Canopy readily and accessible for our teams. This has been a game changer. I can't tell you how annoyed I am when I set and done a marketing strategy, tone of voice, how we should present ourselves. You should get the same experience with Brittany as you get with a new staff accountant. Well, how are they supposed to do that if they don't know how to execute your tone of voice? If they don't know how you want to have something completed or written or wrote? How many times have you given feedback to your team members? Well, I wish you would have worded it this way. Eliminate that feedback, standardize it for them. Communication is key. If you have an expectation of how you want to have something communicated, document it. Eliminate the questions. Make this super easy for your team. I told you a little bit about my operations assistant. She does not have to worry about crafting a like, hey, Jane, it's Callie, I need these 2 statements. She has a template, boom, it's done, 2 seconds. We can go through 50 client requests super fast, all standardized. You need to design, when you think about your communication, the written side of your firm. It matters. Your voice matters. So first and foremost, you should be standardizing your engagement letters. If you don't have a platform, there are many out there that are really great. Standardize. Do you know how awesome it is when you're on a proposal call and then you send that proposal in less than 24 hours? One of our values is responsiveness. I hate when I get a proposal 10 days later. You've already forgotten about me and do you even know who I am at this point? Have engagement letters that are standardized, copy, paste, edit as you go. As Deb said earlier, you shouldn't be doing your pricing on that call. You know your value, document the value, and go with it. Onboarding questionnaires, our team sends out client requests the moment you're set up in our portal in Canopy. I'm going to ask you from everything from your logins to prior year tax returns to your bank statements, everything to do my job. And then the expectation is I will not start your onboarding until you've satisfied more than 75% of your onboarding documents. You're not going to waste my time. I have a client right now who's really upset. They're in the onboarding phase. They're in week 10. We have sent them over 120 reminders. If I didn't have a platform like Canopy, I'd have to go through all my emails. But you know what I get to do when we're on a call? It's kind of funny. I open up the client request, and I'm like, Jackie, I've commented here every 2 days. Boy, accountability really comes in, right, when I can show their date and time that I needed. Value my time as well. Client request templates, what are the things that you ask your clients for every single month? We do a lot of nonprofit work, so we have to request payroll allocations. I have a template already done, 2 seconds. Payroll review, done, template. They load the report in from ADP. We get client approval. We're not a part of management, so I make my team document any type of money movement. Bill spend and expense, census, so we can get them set up, client request. If my team has to write a client request, they're told to stop in their tracks and request one. Because if that client needs it, I guarantee you another client's going to need it. We do email templates. Look, they don't read them. Okay, I worked in a big public accounting firm where they're like, craft your emails, make them feel special. No, they don't read them half the time. I create email templates for everything, preliminary month-end financials, payroll review, firm override, all of it. It's short, it's sweet, they'll read it fast, they care more about the attachment that's in there. So I standardize it for my team because there's nothing worse than getting a backlog at my level or going like, oh, Sally, you can't send that because I haven't trained you yet. Templatize it, standardize it. It's now my voice in a template. Now my operations team can execute while I'm not there. Text messaging is new. So I used to have a rule, if you worked at my firm or even in public accounting, you were not to have your email or Teams on your phone. Okay, I used to have this rule. Until I became an owner, I very much lived by it. So if you have team members, I still tell my team, do not put your email or Teams on your phone. If you need to step away, there's a reason you're stepping away. And it's not to do work for me while you're driving. But I did implement a way for a client to text us because I found more than 75% of my clients preferred text over email. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right, of building a house. He doesn't have his computer while he's sitting there. But he responded to a text if there was a code or I needed to approve payroll. So we implemented Clerk SMS recently, has boilerplate responses that we can utilize, has out of offices that we can do, work hours that we can do. Really, really great. I think Sharon gave me that one. I was using approved contact. It didn't have any functionality other than texting. I mean, this has been a game changer, guys. My entire team gets notified through Teams when a text comes in, and then they redirect it to our support email, or they handle it right then and there. We do boilerplate text, too. So I even go all the way down to help my team with how should they comment on that client request that the client hasn't responded to. Guys, this is the part of your business that is so important. Great, you got them in the door. They love you. As Deb said, sell the Walt Disney experience. But if you can't deliver after they come in, what does that mean? If you can't scale, you're limiting yourself. These are easy things that you can implement today with technology that make your life 10 times easier. And the best part is your client knows what to expect every single month. The email's not worded differently. It doesn't come on a different day. You've now created consistency without doing anything. And trust me, they'll call you the one time you're not consistent. Lastly, there's a typo, it's called internal team templates, but we try to internalize team templates as well internally for my teams. We try to document everything possible. Checklist, handoff, how you're gonna ask questions, what I wanna hear from you when you have a question. Take out this gray space for your team, especially if you're growing a team. I like to hire non-traditional, those coming into accounting or converting into accounting. They haven't been doing this for 20 years. I cannot expect Sally Joe to communicate to a client like I do when she's been in the accounting industry a whopping week. Don't put that expectation on them. That's not fair. Lastly, we have a client communication calendar. I kind of added this one as a bonus, but we do weekly workload meetings. So we review work at the high level. Like I said, we're a due date firm, so we use Canopy. We have about 6 or 7 dashboards that we set up by task, and we review with the team. We also review what are the communications that we want to have with our clients in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Do I know that the tax rates are going to change? Because I think, again, proactivity is where we need to go. Believe it or not, clients no longer expect you to get through that Nordstrom bag of receipts today. Do you guys remember that? I used to work at CLA. This guy brought in like a Nordstrom bag of receipts. And I remember telling my boss, like, what do I do with that? Like, I can't even read them. My clients now know how to expect, when to get a hold of us, how we're going to share information. You don't want them to find out about something happening in their industry from someone else. That's your role, that's your job, that's the value. Even if you're not providing advisory services, this is a way that you can help with advisory. Notify them that tax rates are changing, letting them know about upcoming due dates. The biggest thing that I tell my teams is you have to close the communication loop. You have to make sure that they understand. One thing that is really important within Ledgerly is communication is not a courtesy. It's the foundation of which your firm will be built on. Roger said it perfectly on day one. Accounting is a people business. If you cannot learn how to respond, don't get upset when your clients leave, because half of the time they're looking for the human. You'll deliver the work. You know how to do the work, streamline the work, but at the end of the day, they care about the conversation. They care about the value they're getting. Be intentional in every aspect of your business. So what happens next? I would challenge all of you to sit down and reflect, maybe with yourself, but then your team, on what is your current experience. What does that look like? I put my husband through a prospect call one time. Man, it was so awkward, but it was so great because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have an awkward client at some point. We learned a little bit about that today, right? The client that just says, well, I don't know, I need help. Go through your experience. Start at the beginning. How do they contact me? When they decide to work with me, how do I define my terms? Okay, now we're working together, we're in the thick of it. How are they going to ask questions? How am I going to manage that? What if Sally Joe asks me 10 questions a week? Go through the experience with your teams. The other thing too, if you're an active business today, take your team out for lunch and ask them what their pain points are with clients. You wouldn't believe what they would hear. Intentionality, take that one-on-one, listen to your team. Define your communication boundaries. This is so big. I even have them in my signature. My working hours may not be your working hours, but I will respond during X. In my signature, I also have my out of office. They have my calendar link. They have access to our support team. Full transparency for every client that works with Ledgerly. And no matter when they communicate with me, they know when they're going to get a response. That way, when they don't get a response, I know where I need to go to fix that. We tell our teams, respond even if you can't do the work. Acknowledgement goes such a far way. Build your scripts, build your templates. So don't go home and feel like you have to build like 500 templates, okay? Pick a process, just one, and just start there. For me, I started in client requests because I really was kind of irritated with the experience that my clients were getting, depending on who sent the client request. One was like this long, one was this long, one, I don't even know what it said. So I started there because I said, I want that information quick as possible. Share your standards with their team so they can help uphold them. There's nothing worse than a team member saying, oh, I didn't know about that. And use your calendar as a leadership tool. Define your working hours. Define how people schedule time with you, when and where and how. Use it as a tool in your tool belt. Here's the way that you can stay in touch with me. So I have my email. I do have a typo on one of mine, but the QR code will give you kind of everything you need. Ask questions. You've heard Roger talk today about intentionality and communication and learning from others. There is no one in this room that knows it all. And the reason being, everyone has a different experience. Everyone has a different way of getting there. I have a different tech stack than you have. It doesn't mean that I don't like your tech stack. It just means that I have found something to streamline. I found efficiency in my tech stack. But Sharon right here, I ask her all the time, can I just demo that with you? Can I just see how you're really using it? I recently had a solopreneur come up and say, I need a practice management software. We went to lunch. I popped open my computer, showed her Canopy. She signed up 2 days later because she got to see the real thing. Demos are great. I love all you tech people in the room. I really love it. But sometimes I have such a specific question that I need that level of granularity. So you should leave here today with contacts, with emails, with phone numbers. Ask if someone's doing it really well. Shit, I'm going to call Deborah after this. Hey, 7 figures? Man, I didn't get there last year, and I thought I was going to get there. Just ask the question, be vulnerable, have the conversation. Let's build the community that we want to be a part of. Any questions?
Where did you get your jacket?
I got my jacket in this little country store in Snohomish, Washington, and I went there because I didn't own a pair of cowboy boots and I needed a pair. Who says Girlies Weekend made that a requirement? And I found it on a back shelf. That'd be great. Deb?
What was that text message app you used?
Yes, okay, so I moved our firm to Clerk SMS. Now, full transparency, I am a Microsoft-based firm. So Clerk SMS.
C-L-E-R-K?
Yeah. And it fully integrates. So it notifies my team up above, notifies my team within the chat section, and then I can see who's typing in the moment so that 2 people don't respond at the same time.
What resource have you gone to for templates? Any of your templates or otherwise? What resource are you using?
Right. So for the templates that I use, my noggin, it comes from about 10 to 15 years. What I am building this year is like a template that those in our community can download. And the reason being is because maybe you don't know what you don't know, right? Like, oh, I didn't know that I could request that. But it really came from, in all honesty, my experience. And then I do an annual retreat every year with my team, and we do a whiteboard session. And that is where probably 50% of my most recent templates came from, just from my team. All right, thank you so much for your time.